Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend. We're popping. I hope you're awake. I hope you are recovering from all the barbecue, the coleslaw, the potato salad, the drinks. I know I am. I don't even want anybody to see my stomach. But happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome. We're here again, Portland Cocktail Week. And we are here with my girl, Janae. What's up, Janae?
Not much.
Forward to today because you speaking to my heart right now about what we're about to talk about. So,
Yes.
how's things? You're back in NOLA.
Yeah, I'm back in NOLA, back at working at my old bar, my pre-COVID bar, bakery bar, and I love it. I'm not gonna lie, I love being back in my hometown. I love, having the extra childcare help. I love, it's summertime. The humidity is, I don't miss that, but
Right.
everything else is great.
Yeah.
It's really good to be back in the city. I can't say
Well,
that.
before we kick it off and tell everybody what we're talking about today, I just want to welcome everybody. So let's do a bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions, please pop it in the chat. Follow us you've got a couple of tags that's going to come up here on you. And this is brought to you by Appleton Estate. So Appleton Estate, this lovely rum right here that we love so much. And Campari Community. Please make sure to follow us. If you aren't following us yet, make sure to follow Campari Community. You can check out our link in the bio. If you're definitely bartender or mixologist, you want to follow us, Janae, tell them they get some cool stuff when they follow Campari Community.
All the swag. Campari know what's up when it comes to swag, okay?
Yeah. And speaking of swag, you are swagging us out today with some trap. So, little known fact, I lived in Atlanta for like 6 months, could not take the traffic.
Did you?
Yeah. Before that, I lived in Houston, so chopped and screwed is my thing. And then, of course, I lived in New York. I went to school in Texas. So, like, trap music and spirits, yeah, girl, it goes hand in hand. So I was looking forward to this topic because I think people see brands and videos and they just think, oh, how'd that end up there? Or, oh, that's just, happens to be in the shot. No, there's a correlation. So absolutely. I wanted to definitely tune in for you. I think people need to understand the correlation. So not to step on your toes. So let me give it over to you, my girl, Janae Angel. I thank you today for bringing this to us. It is needed. So classic cocktails and trap music. Take it away.
Yes. Well, thank you. I do want to say something really quick on those videos, though. And, it's now the day of the dollar. So most of the videos with, the bottles in them, those people probably have equity in that product now.
Oh, yeah.
It probably wasn't true before. But now if you ever see product placement in a rap video, know that person was either paid to do that or they have equity in that company.
That's right.
So we ain't slipping now. You know what I mean? It's not just for clout. It's for equity and cash flow.
That's right.
Really. All right. Well, welcome, you guys. If you didn't already know, my name is Janae Angel Williams. I go by Janae Angel for short. And this class is called Classic Cocktails and Trap Music. And in this class today, we will take a look at the historical intersection of Black culture and spirits. And I am so excited. So just a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Janae Angel Williams. I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm currently still here. Love it. Don't plan on leaving anytime soon. And I am a bartender by trade. I've been bartending for 9 years now, which is crazy. I've worked in many different bar environments and competed in cocktail competitions. I started my career in a margarita bar. I worked in a wine dive. I work in a cake and cocktail bar now. I've worked in a fine dining restaurant. I've worked in a sports bar. I've literally worked at every environment. So I not only have a good idea of, a wide range of cocktails, but also a wide range of customers. So I'm really good at placing palettes and, liberating palettes, trying to get people to try new things. And I really like competing in cocktail competitions. Not that much anymore because, post-COVID era or COVID era won't let that happen. But I've competed in a few competitions. One in particular was Espo and cocktail fights, which was really fun. Nowadays, in my free time, I make simple, easy to follow cocktail tutorials on TikTok and Instagram Reels. And those videos are geared towards the Black community. I'm not going to lie. So that's kind of how this classic cocktail and trap music class idea got birth, was because I really wanted to infuse my Black culture and, my Blackness with the kind of cocktail culture in my work environment. And sometimes it just felt like those two couldn't coincide. So I started making cocktails to trap music, and they got really popular, and it got popular with the people who I think needed it most, who were, Black bartenders who didn't have access to cocktail education and the kind of, and just the people and the network that a lot of us have. So I get a lot of questions on Instagram from young Black bartenders asking me questions about my cocktails. They're just telling me, like, I learned so much from your videos. So that's where this class kind of came from. And this is, this is just like a mind dump of mine. And I hope you enjoy. But before we tap in, I do want to say happy Pride Month to all our LGBTQIA+ people. Thank you for sharing this space with me. Yes, and I just while we're diving into Black culture and spirits, I implore everybody watching to also dive into queer culture and just kind of understand where they come from and learn a little bit more about them and their history. Shout out to y'all. But let's go ahead and tap into this class because we got a lot of knowledge to drop. So today we're going to talk about liquor and how it has influenced Black cocktail culture and vice versa. And that is definitely something I want to stress. There is such a thing as Black cocktail culture. Let's get real. So I just put up some lyrics by Kendrick Lamar. I'm going to put up a lot of song lyrics that include kind of like, spirits, because they're in a lot of rap songs, a lot of hip hop songs. So N-word, why you babysitting on only 2 or 3 shots? I'm going to show you how to turn it up a notch. First, you get a swimming pool full of liquor, then you dive in it. Pool full of liquor, then you dive in it. Those are my rap skills. I'm sorry. They don't get much better than that.
I'm here dancing with you.
Girl, I was trying not to sing it, but I was trying to spoken word it, but it didn't come out as well as I thought. But yeah, that's from Kendrick Lamar, who we know and love. And he actually won a Nobel Peace Prize, if you didn't know, for his rap album, DAMN. Yes, and that's off his Swimming Pool album. So next slide, please. So just kind of like to give you a run of the show, we will explore music and history through 3 cocktails. First, we will discuss the definition and background of the base spirits of each cocktail, which is basically the liquor. If you don't know what base spirit means, in cocktail creation, the base spirit is the liquor that has kind of like the highest amount. So we'll go over that first. And then in the second part, we'll discuss the historical context of the spirit and how it relates to Black music and culture. And then we will walk through a cocktail recipe and discuss the inspiration behind each cocktail, including that spirit. All right, so these are just some things that you'll need to follow along. I know this was not given out pre-class, but this is recorded, so you'll be able to watch this class on the Portland Cocktail Week Facebook page, and it also will be available post the live on the Portland Cocktail Week YouTube channel as well. So these are kind of the things that you're going to need to make all of the cocktails that we're going to discuss today. So just basic bar tools: shaker set, cocktail strainer, fine strainer, a muddler, a whisk, or blender. You can use either one of those, a fruit peeler, and then we'll use 3 types of glasses, which I will also show you while we discuss the cocktails. Next slide, please. And then these are the alcoholic cocktail ingredients. So we're going to use Applebum Estate rum. We're also going to use gin and cognac as our 3 base spirits, and then some modifiers, which if you don't know what modifiers are kind of like other spirits in the cores that add flavor. So we're going to be using some Grand Marnier, Aperol, and also some aromatic bitters.
This is a great season for all of these ingredients, by the way. Great season.
Yes, I totally agree. And then these are just our non-alcoholic ingredients. So a bunch of juice, some carbonated beverages, some syrups, really simple. I didn't add that notebook, but all of these syrups are 1-to-1. We're also going to use some tea. I love making tea cocktails. We're going to use banana, like actual banana, coconut milk, egg white or aquafaba for people who don't eat eggs, and don't let that scare you if you're watching this. It's like, I'm not drinking an egg white cocktail. I promise you it's delicious. And then just some really simple, easy to make garnishes. So this is definitely, if you're watching this and you're not a bar professional, all of the cocktails that we will talk about will be easily accessible to you and easy to make. None of them are super complicated to where you can't do them yourself at home. So first thing we're going to talk about is cognac. So let's talk about that yak. So these are some lyrics from Notorious B.I.G., who we all know and love, from his song "Who Shot Ya." It's I seen the light, excite all the freaks, that mad chips, spread the love with my peeps. N-word wanna creep, gotta watch my back. Think the cognac and endo sack make me slack. No, we don't, Biggie. We sure don't. So, yeah, and if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat. Monique will let me know when they come up. So just a little background on what cognac actually is. So cognac is actually a type of brandy. Brandy is a fruit distillate. So that means that brandy can be made from grapes, which is mainly made from, but it can also be made from apples, pears, plum, any type of fruit can make brandy. So cognac is made from distilling the fruit wine. So first you have to make that fruit into wine, and then you distill it, and then it becomes brandy. Cognac specifically is a fine brandy produced in the Cognac region in France, meaning that you can't call it cognac unless it's made in Cognac, France. So there, as we all know, like a lot of cognacs have age statements on them. An age statement is the amount of time that a cognac is aged in oak, and also determines its grade. So a very special grade is aged 2 years. VSOP is aged 4 years. Napoleon is aged 6 years, and XO is aged at least 10 years. And I know the last two might look a little weird to some people who are well versed in, cognac knowledge, but I know the age statements on Napoleon and XO has changed since 2018. I think March 2018 they were changed. I don't know what from, but these are the new age statements as of 2018. So where did the love affair begin? Where did Black people and cognac actually coincide in history? So from my research, the first time was in the two World Wars, World War I and World War II. Cognac was actually introduced to African-American soldiers stationed in France, and it made its way back home with them, which we thank them for. And also it was very prevalent with the performing arts crowd as well. And what I mean by that is, a lot of performers performed in bars and speakeasies and places like that. So where you got music, you also got liquor during that time. So during the two World Wars, many Black musicians and entertainers were booking gigs in France, showing that French actually appreciated their contributions to American culture before white Americans did. I don't know if any of you know the history of how a lot of Black entertainers have been turned away because of segregation from a lot of places. During the World Wars, Black entertainers were not only going overseas to entertain Black soldiers, they were also going overseas to entertain just Europeans as well. But that wasn't the case in America at that time, which I thought was very interesting and thought I should share with all of you. Next slide. And here we go. So after the war, cognac and Black people and cognac their relationship didn't end. So after the wars, cognac brands began to feature ads in Black magazines like Ebony and Jet, and then almost 97% of cognac is exported today, with the U.S. being the biggest consumer, and African Americans make up a large majority of its sales. And I think that's very significant information to know, that a lot of people in cognac don't actually drink cognac, and that a lot of it is actually brought to the U.S. And a good percentage of that also is drank by Black people. So Black people are definitely influential when it comes to, cognac culture. It's not just a flex. Like, we actually matter when it comes to, consumption and sales. Like, we are a big part of that community.
Yeah.
So these are just some old ads that I found online. So what I noticed is that, the cognac brands, and these are ads from multiple cognac brands, they were trying to kind of project cognac as a civilized drink for civilized people. And that's kind of where, that kind of higher aesthetic came for cognac was from ads like this, like you civilized men and women drink cognac. So that's why, it has that relation with like upper echelon and things like that, is because of ads like this. This is how those companies projected themselves to Black Americans, and Black Americans kind of internalized it. I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it either.
I think these ads are pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember at least one of these, and I remember on some of the ads, you see the guy rolling it around in the sniffer. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I absolutely get it. So let's talk a little bit about cognac and Black music culture. So one of the most popular songs that we know about that talks about cognac is Pass the Courvoisier by Busta Rhymes. After this song came out in 2002, cognac sales jumped 30%. And if you think about how much cognac is exported to the U.S., this is a lot. 30% of sales is a lot. So that's a big deal right there. During the next 5 years, after this song came out, multiple rappers created brand partnerships with cognac houses. And now many rappers like P. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Ludacris now have their own cognac brands. Yeah. So that this is where the culture is now. And I think that's a pretty good jump from, just getting it from soldiers in, France from World War I and World War II to now being actual influencers and creators of cognac brands and distributors. I think this is very significant. And it says a lot about, not only our relationship with cognac, but our influence. So take note, people. if you want to... I feel like it's really big in the Black community to support brands that support us. I think this is definitely a thing. Cognac is one. I love making cognac cocktails. I will always try to sell cognac. I will always support them, not only for the work that they've done with Black people and, kind of like cultivating us into the, possible cocktail culture, but, also just how, it helped create what we are today. And I think that's really cool to know this.
Yes.
All right, next slide, please. These are just a few artists who reference cognac in music. I'm sure a lot of you already recognize these people: Dej Loaf, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Drake, Fetty Wap. I'm not going to repeat the rest because there's like 100 more, literally. So my cognac cocktail is called Bonita Applebum. All of these cocktails are named after hip-hop songs, so don't be surprised if you recognize it. So my inspiration for this cocktail was I wanted to create a cocktail that was simple, but also had great flavor and quality. It reads as a cognac mule or buck, which is kind of like the original ingredient recipe for the mule, which has more fruit notes and flavor depth. The mixture allows the fruit flavors of the cognac to become more apparent, which are enhanced by the presence of other flavors. What do I want to say for this? So for people who aren't well versed in cocktails, reading a lot of ingredients that you don't know taste like can be very confusing. They might sound interesting, but you also might not want to spend money on something that you would hate. So it's really important, especially when not only creating cocktails for friends but also for menus, to make sure that you have cocktails on there that are easily readable and understandable, so that people can be like, oh, well, this seems like something I know all these flavors, right? So maybe this is something that I might like, or, something I'm willing to try because it's not super confusing. Because, as bartenders, we always want to try the new thing and, be interesting. But sometimes there's something special about sticking to the basics. So this recipe is 1.5 ounces cognac, a 1/2 ounce of Grand Marnier to add a little bit of orange flavor, 3/4 ounce of apple juice, 1/2 lime juice, 1/2 simple syrup, and you're going to top it with ginger beer. Super straightforward. The flavors are widely known, and it just tastes really, really good together. So just a little instructions on how to make it. I know the picture showed a copper mug, but I honestly prefer this cocktail in a Collins glass, which is this. If you're not familiar with a Collins glass, yeah, just a tall glass like this. So in a Collins glass, you're basically just going to add everything but the ginger beer, add ice. And the reason I add ice after the liquids is because you don't want to add too much ice and then it overflows or you don't have enough room for your ginger beer. So then you add ice, top of ginger beer, give it a quick stir with a spoon or a stir, and then just garnish with a lime wheel or an apple slice, and you're good to go, just like the picture.
I just want to know,
Yes,
Janae, in terms of the Collins glass, is there a reason why you preference the Collins glass versus the mule mug?
I think for I forget the word, but I think for your nose,
Mm-hmm.
I like how the kind of ginger beer kind of overwhelms it a little bit,
Right.
and I think that kind of it plays a part in how the actual cocktail tastes.
Right.
So smelling the ginger beer and also tasting everything together,
Mm-hmm.
I think is more of an experience for me, because you could have a wider glass and you'll still get a smell, but I feel like it's not as concentrated with a glass like this one.
Gotcha.
So I think that it's about the experience with this glass for me.
Plus, I like to see the liquid. I think sometimes in a mule mug, you miss out on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm totally for if you want to do a layered effect for just make it cool, just add all the ingredients at the bottom and not stir and just add the, ginger beer. Hey, that's cool too, because they can stir after the fact. So that's it on cognac. So let's talk a little bit about gin. We all know what song I was going to use for this one. Let's be real. Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg is probably the most popular song that talks about gin, even though it doesn't directly talk about it and what it is. It references it and kind of yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is my vibe kind of way, and I appreciate it. So yeah, so we all know the lyrics. Rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Y'all brought it out of me. I'm sorry. Oh, before we go on, I forgot to do my toast. So I love to do. You don't have to, Morley, but I love to toast before I start my classes, and I totally forgot. So I'm going to be toasting a little bit of Appleton to you guys.
Okay.
You have a glass. Or you said you're going to?
So I had some in a glass in my cup already. Oh my gosh, you're outing me. So let's go ahead and get it.
All right.
Well,
cheers.
Cheers.
Have a great day. Have a great rest of the class.
Cheers.
I'll be sipping on this for the duration of this class. So let's go ahead and dive in on gin. And I feel like, especially from the Black perspective, gin is one of those spirits that we don't actually know a lot about compared to everything else. So let's talk about what it actually is. So the main ingredient in gin is juniper. And gin is produced by taking an already made distilled spirit, flavoring it with other things, and redistilling it or infusing it. The base spirit is usually made from a grain distillate, most likely a neutral grain spirit or some type of vodka. And then juniper must be present for it to be considered gin. So basically they take a neutral grain spirit, sometimes vodka, and then they kind of redistill it with adding botanicals in there, including juniper, or they kind of just let it sit on it. And that's kind of how that's made. But yeah, definitely has to have juniper. And little known fact, juniper was, I don't know the history exactly, and I don't want to say something that's untrue, but a long time ago in Europe, there was issues with gin causing abortion. So from the juniper, juniper causes abortions, I think. So women are turned away from having gin while they're pregnant because of, the abortion possibility. Maybe I need to look that up, but let's move on because that's not a subject we should probably talk about. So some other botanicals that are found in gin are orange peel. A lot of gins have orange peel in it, and I really appreciate it because I feel the flavor of orange really works well with other botanicals and different types of flowers. Anise is in there as well. Licorice root, cinnamon, grapefruit peel, saffron, coriander, grains of paradise, bay leaf, which is another good one, ginger, lavender, thyme, clover, all kinds of flavors. These are just a few. So in terms of Black culture, gin has always been a component in the mixed drink side of Black bar culture. I feel like gin and juice, there's a lot of mixed drinks on the market that include gin. I can't think of any actual cocktails or gin cocktails that my grandma or my mom or, people in my family would actually gravitate towards, unless it was, something mixed in, like a gin punch. I think gin punches are really popular in the Black community. It's seen as a spirit similar to vodka in mixing capabilities. And because it starts out as a neutral grain spirit and it's flavored after the fact, I feel like that helps in its mixing capabilities in terms of making punches and things like that. And now in 2021, there are many Black-owned gin companies, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know that. So after this class, I definitely implore you to research Black-owned gin companies, because there's a few. And I was very surprised when I was doing my research as well. So gin and Black music culture, the one song that everybody knows, Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, came out in 1994. 2 Chainz actually has a version of a gin and juice called a Dirty Amber, which is gin, fresh squeezed lime juice, and Jägermeister, which sounds so not delicious. But I will try anything once, and I haven't tried this since starting this, so maybe I should try it soon to give you an actual opinion.
That Jägermeister with the gin scares me, but I'll try that.
Yeah, it really does. And just like a squeeze of lime juice. Now, I need a little bit of sugar.
Right.
Whew, I don't know. Maybe that should be it. Maybe we should have did that on the IG Live. Just tried this one shot. Next class. So some other artists who reference gin in music are, no surprise, Kendrick Lamar, Notorious B.I.G., SZA, A$AP Rocky, Wiz Khalifa, Juicy J, Youngboy NBA, Childish Gambino, Party Next Door, all kinds of people from all different eras of Black music. So I think that's great too, that we actually appreciate it still today. So my cocktail is called Gin et le Jus, and le jus is juice in French. So it's basically named after Snoop Dogg's song. But this cocktail was inspired by the gin and juice concept, like I said. I wanted to make a morning after optional cocktail. So basically what I mean is I wanted to make something that you would possibly drink at night, but also enjoy in the morning.
Oh, I like that.
So this includes ingredients that are packed with vitamins and nutrients to help replenish the ones lost and promote less chance of a hangover. Aquafaba can be used instead of egg whites for non-meat eaters, because this cocktail does contain egg whites. So the recipe goes as such. It's going to be 1.5 ounces of gin, a 3/4 ounce of Aperol, a 3/4 ounce of grapefruit juice, and 3/4 ounce of honey syrup. And then you're going to add 1 egg white or 1 ounce of aquafaba. And once you mix that cocktail, you're going to add 1.5 ounces of soda. And for those of you who don't know what aquafaba is literally chickpea juice. So garbanzo beans, you get them in a can, you literally pour the juice out. That juice from those garbanzo beans can be used as an egg white substituted cocktail. So it has the same consistency or similar consistency. And it gets that like foamy effect that you see on the picture there. That's what the egg white kind of creates, along with that like mouthfeel, that like creamy mouthfeel. I will say there are salted and unsalted garbanzo beans. I honestly just get salted. I feel like I love adding salt to cocktails because I feel like it acts as a balancing kind of like factor. So it doesn't matter to me if you were to use salt or unsalted chickpea juice, or just make your own. Yeah. I've never done it, but that's a great idea as well.
That's a great substitute. What's the smell of the aquafabas? Because I think a lot of people think, oh, is it going to have that fresh smell?
When you get it out of a can, I feel like it does have a smell, but I don't equate it with a bad one. It smells like vegetables to me.
Gotcha.
But
really good substitute.
The smell does dissipate, like kind of like an egg would.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not a lingering, especially when you mix it with alcohol and so many other like effervescent flavors, like that grapefruit juice kind of just like spreads everywhere and overtakes. So it's kind of hard to kind of distinguish the aquafaba from that.
Yeah. And also, Janae, just for those who are not non-meat eaters, but are a little hesitant about the egg white, why should someone be okay with having a cocktail that has egg white in it?
So, it's, first of all, the salmonella is in the shell. It's not in the egg, so you don't have to worry about getting sick too much. But it's I don't know. I've been drinking egg white cocktails for ages.
Yeah.
I always crave egg white cocktails with like heartier dishes because it's like I don't want it's for people who want creamy cocktails but don't actually want milk. You know what I mean? Like you want that texture of a creaminess, and maybe you even want that sweetness, but you don't want actual milk. And I think egg white is that's what it does. It gives it that mouth feel. It creates that foaminess.
Yeah.
Like Ray Motion Fizzes are a great one to try if you've never had it. Even though that includes cream, but the cream and the egg white work really well with us with each other in that one. And with this one, it's like I want a really good citrus cocktail, but I also want like a Brandy Alexander. I want something with a lot of cream. Like I want a milk punch, you know? So it's kind of like a medium in between those two. So if you really want citrus, but you want to be more kind of like open or try new things, definitely get a citrus cocktail with egg white, like a whiskey sour. Try a whiskey sour instead of an old fashioned.
Yeah, and if you're concerned about safety, trust me, between the acid in the grapefruit and the gin, the egg is cured. So
there you go. So in terms of making the cocktail, you're just going to add everything except the soda water in a shaker tin. Add ice and shake for about 15 seconds. I definitely recommend just counting if you're not an actual bartender. I always count. I'm not gonna lie, I still count. You then strain out the ice. Let's stop here. So you're gonna strain out the ice from the mix, and then you're gonna shake it again without ice. And what that does is kind of like solidifies that like kind of like foam head on top, and just adds a little extra foaminess and creaminess to your cocktail. And then once you're done, you're going to strain into a champagne flute or wine glass. I brought the glasses just so we can be aware what I'm talking about. So this is a champagne flute and this is a wine glass. Either one, I would say this is for one cocktail. This is if you're splitting it up into two. And then once you strain in your cocktail, you're just going to top it with soda water and zest grapefruit peel over it. I think this is very important. Yeah. Zesting a grapefruit peel, like peeling it off and zesting, is very important for kind of like finishing the cocktail. That the oils and the juices on the peel are definitely different from what's inside. So you definitely want to add that extra flavor on top of it.
Nice.
From the peel. All right, next slide. Okay, what we came here to talk about for real. Let's talk about rum. One of my favorite things to talk about, because I feel like the history of rum is just not widely known by the people who actually were involved in, the reason it blew up or, became a thing, which are Black people. And these are just some lyrics from a song called Jay-Z Blue by Jay-Z on his Magna Carta Holy Grail album. I dream filthy. My mom and pops mixed me with Jamaican. Rum and whiskey would have set off. I know I'm not perfect, baby. I done been through so much trauma. It's going to be hard to reverse it. I really appreciate you hyping me up, Monique. Because I'm trying to get my poetic flow on, but I'm not used to doing it on camera. I can do it in front of the mirror. Yeah. But not on camera. All right, Dave, next slide. Thank you. So for those of you who don't know exactly what rum comes from, it comes from sugarcane, which is very prevalent in Louisiana. So I've seen a lot of it. Rum is made from the distillation of sugarcane juice or molasses, which is a byproduct of sugar production. Rum is usually aged in oak barrels and is historically produced in Caribbean countries. Yeah,
which are mostly predominantly Black countries. So
Yes, absolutely. So some other sugarcane distillate varieties, which basically means other sugarcane products that aren't labeled as rum. So one is cachaça, which is made in Brazil. I think the most popular cocktail that's made with cachaça is caipirinhas, which are delicious. Rum agricole is another, which is prevalent in French-speaking Caribbean islands, such as Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Haiti. And I know the difference between regular rum, which is made from molasses, is that rum agricole is made from fresh pressed cane juice instead of from molasses. Charanda is made in Mexico. And cane aguardiente is an anise flavored sugarcane liqueur. So if you've never tried any of these are good ways to kind of like branch out from drinking something like Appleton Estate.
Yes.
So I just hit on the nail on the head with this one, and we're just going straight in. The rum industry was built on the backs of slaves. That is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The slaves were the reason that the Europeans got rich off of
rum. Correct.
Yes. So rum originated in Arabian countries who introduced it to Europe and the Mediterranean. Later on, the Portuguese realized that sugarcane could be cultivated in the Caribbean without agricultural. Basically, they could, get that sugarcane without having to pay a tax. Next slide, please. In the Caribbean, the Portuguese enslaved Africans and brought them to the Caribbean to grow the cane for free. So basically, slaves made the Caribbean sugarcane industry possible. And in many ways, sugar trade went hand in hand with slave trade.
Yep.
Whew. You didn't know that?
Including indentureship of Indians in the Caribbean as well.
Yes. And so this also backtracks to America or forward tracks to America. So rum was even produced in the U.S., with a lot of it being produced in New England, where they would import sugar and export molasses and rum. Rum played a big part in the American Revolution, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't know. And if you are a non-bartender, you probably didn't know this at all. So I know when we're kids, we're taught that, the American Revolution was because of tea and the tea tax, but it was actually because the British were jealous that we were making so much money off of selling rum, which was, made possible by Black slaves or enslaved Black people, because slavery was not our fault. It was something that happened to us. It's not our identity. Let's start teaching kids the truth. I think this might be a little too much information to teach a 5-year-old child, but it wasn't because of tea. It wasn't because of the Tea Party. That was just a facade. It was because of the rum. It was because we were making so much money off of rum, and it wasn't under the British umbrella, and they weren't having that. They thought that we were becoming too independent, and that's why the American Revolution happened. Yep. While Kentucky and everybody, down south was making whiskey, New England and everybody up north was making rum.
Right.
So rum and Black music culture, and the rum history is kind of similar to the Cognac history. So in terms of like them going hand in hand. So the country migrated to whiskey over time, but rum came to popularity again during the Jazz Age and Prohibition era. Many clubs and speakeasies would hire African-American performers who created jazz, which was then modified for middle-class white Americans later years. But the point I'm trying to make is that, where the African-Americans were being hired by these clubs to perform, where they were selling things like rum. And that's how, if it weren't for those places for people to drink existing, jazz and music like that wouldn't have been able to, cultivate and, become what it became years later. In today's music, many artists who reference rum in their songs use Caribbean beats or Caribbean-inspired beats, like Jamaican dance hall. Nicki Minaj's Megatron is a good example, and just some other artists who use like Caribbean sounds in their music are Kanye West, The Weeknd, Eminem, Jay-Z, and Notorious B.I.G., who clearly is obsessed with alcohol. Yeah. So in terms of Black food and drink culture, rum is very prevalent in many food dishes and holiday recipes, like my grandmother's rum balls. That was one thing that I remember her making during the holidays that I couldn't eat when I was a child. She does not make them today. She says that I should start making them. And I'm like, first of all, you didn't teach me how to cook. So it's probably easy. It's probably the easiest thing, but I'm going to hold on to that. You didn't teach me how to cook, so you still have to do it. I'll bring the Appleton, okay? You can have the rum. Yeah. For me. That is my contribution to this recipe. So Black people use rum for eggnog. I know we do in my house. Rum punch and rum and coke have always been popular drinks in the Black community, and I feel like that's true for just the overarching cocktail culture too. And then in places where mixed drinks are prevalent, rum and coke is something that's easily drinkable. Cuba Libre is an actual cocktail, and then rum punch is something that's refreshing, and great for summertime. So yeah, Black people love rum.
Oh yes, and in the Caribbean culture, we eat rum cake, so that's a must come the holidays.
I have had rum cake. I do. I don't know why I didn't put that in here. I do remember having rum cake, going to the Caribbean and having rum cake. It's delicious. Okay, so my rum cocktail is called Juicy. I'll let you guess on which musician, not magician, or he was a magician, let's be honest, or which musician came up with the song that inspired this name. But I wanted to make a punch cocktail, but make it fancy pretty much. Some believe that the word punch originates from the Hindi word for five, and I don't know, a lot of the non-bartending viewers know where the word punch came from, but this is the widely accepted historical definition. But it came from the Hindi word for five, which is a reference to the number of ingredients in the mixture. Sour, sugar, spirit, water, and spice. The general rule when making punch behind the bar is 1 part sour, which can be like a citrus agent, and then 2 parts sweet, which can be kind of like a syrup or some type of sugar. 3 parts strong, which would be your rum, and 4 parts weak, which could be like a water, a juice, or a tea. So this is a picture of what the Juicy cocktail kind of looks like. I'm clearly obsessed with pink cocktails, but this is kind of what it looks like, and it looks like something really juicy and sweet, which it is. So you're going to add 1.5 ounces of Appalachian Estate rum, 3/4 ounce of Grand Marnier, 2 drops of aromatic bitters. Bitters are kind of like cocktail seasoning, kind of like salt and pepper, kind of like bring out the flavors of everything else that's in there. And then you're going to add 1 ounce of banana coconut milk, which I want to stop here and talk about the banana coconut milk for a second. So when I was workshopping this cocktail, I tried literally everything banana liqueur, banana syrup, banana tincture. Banana schnapps, everything, but nothing was as good as just like a regular banana, like just putting a banana. It's not very viable for behind the bar, but when you're just making this for friends at home, it's super easy. So basically what you do is you take a banana, and then you take a can of coconut milk, which I don't have with me. I should have brought one to show you like how simple this is. Just take a can of coconut, pour it in a dish, take this banana, and it has to be ripe. You have to have brown spots on it, or else it won't be a mushy enough consistency. Put it in a pot and whisk it together, or just put it in a blender if you've got a blender. Because I'm lazy, I usually just whisk it till it's kind of all the larger lumps are out. I don't think they have to be like super smooth because you're gonna shake it. But yeah, just a regular banana. Can you believe that? I know a lot of bartenders are like, meh. Like a real banana, son? Yes, son. A real banana.
That does sound good though. The banana
yes,
flavor.
It is good, Michael. Yes. So you're just gonna basically mash up a banana in some coconut milk, and then add 1 ounce of that mixture, lumpy and all. And then you're going to add 1 ounce of hibiscus or passion fruit tea. So basically what you're going to do is just make tea like you would regularly make tea. I really like this brand, the Tazo Passion. It's got passion fruit and hibiscus in it, and this is what I use for this cocktail whenever I make it. But yeah, just make a regular, a cup of tea, and then just add 1 ounce of that tea to the mixture. And then you're going to add 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup to kind of like round out the flavors, and then 2 or 3 mint leaves to shake with it, just to add a hint of mint.
You're shaking that in the mint leaves in it.
Yes, and it's also going to serve as your garnish as well. Nice. Not those specific mint leaves, but some new ones, of course. Oh, and I forgot I put this in there to make the banana coconut milk. Yeah, just blend 1 can of coconut milk and 1 medium-sized banana, and then you're going to combine all of that into a shaker tin, mix all ingredients, and shake really hard for 15 seconds. And you want to shake it. You want to make sure you shake it hard because you want to break up those banana pieces. And then double strain, if you can, into a cocktail glass, and then just garnish with a mint sprig, and it's delicious. And it comes out in that really cute pink color. And I love it. This is probably my favorite out of the three because the flavor is just something you don't expect. Like the mixture of the coconut and the hibiscus, it creates almost like a bubblegum flavor. And I think the mint in there kind of like facilitates that as well. It's just like, it's something you don't expect. It's really fruity, but also like really savory and juicy. So the name is appropriate.
You think this?
But yeah, if you try these, yeah, go ahead, Monique.
You think this can be made into syrup? Because I see someone says we'll go for a passion banana tea syrup.
I absolutely think so. It's something that I didn't try, but I definitely, so I think, especially for me, cocktail recipes are something that are never done. Like you might submit a cocktail recipe, but there's always tweaks that you can make. Once I decided on just adding regular banana, I never went forward. So this is something that I definitely plan on kind of like workshopping out for, you know, kind of like to make it more manageable for behind the bar.
Yeah.
But this is how I make it at home. And so this recipe is definitely consumer focused, but there's definitely ways to make it easier and probably more palatable to bartenders and bar programs for sure.
I love it.
Yeah, girl. And that was it. So I do have a few final thoughts. So my first one is there are a number of mixed drinks that have actually been created by rappers and popular entertainers. So I implore you to dive into those as well. When I was researching for this class and this presentation, I noticed that like almost everybody had a favorite cocktail or everybody thought they were mixologists, like in real life. Celebrities are like that too. You know, those customers who come to you, oh, I made this cocktail and it had grapefruit and it had Sprite and it had lemon and it was delicious. It's like, okay, girl, you got it. You sound delicious. Rappers are like that too. Yeah. And some of them are gross. So go in there expecting everything. But I definitely suggest you do that because especially if you're thinking about making a cocktail inspired by your favorite rapper or favorite musician or favorite Black celebrity, see what their palate tends to, lean towards. Because you never know. I living in New Orleans, they're filming films here, and a lot of celebrities here live here all the time. I've served celebrities. I never thought to like look up to see what they actually wanted or like might like, because that probably would have been really very good for me to kind of be impressive in that way. But it's worth a try. Because I would never want to be that person to name a cocktail after celebrity and then be like, oh, this tastes like crap. This is not my style. So definitely do your research. And then just a couple more things. Some great ways to incorporate hip hop culture into your bar program. Use spirits, brands, and flavors that are prevalent in Black culture. It doesn't make sense to me to make drinks inspired by Black culture that Black people don't see as appealing. I would never make a cocktail and name it something that I know, my friend was going to be like, oh, girl, that sounds interesting. And then she's going to hate it because it's not something that her palate leans to. We, especially as Black people, I know, look up, Black food recipes or look up Black popular drinks or go to a Black bar. Go to a Black bar and see what people are drinking. You know what I mean? If you want to name a cocktail after a Black person or something like that, don't be adding stuff that they're not, Black people don't actually like or that isn't appealing to Black people. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like if it's not something that I can see my friends or my family drinking, I'm not going to put it on my menu and say, my grandma's pumpkin pie, and it don't taste nothing like grandma's pumpkin pie.
Right.
And then my last thing is just to create song-inspired cocktails. That's another good way to incorporate Black culture into your program. It doesn't have to include an artist name or anything explicit. It can just be a lyric. Like I had a coworker who wanted to call one of his cocktails Kung Fu Kenny after Kendrick Lamar, because I think he either says that in his songs or that was one of his songs. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a great idea. Like that's such a great way to pay homage to one of your favorite rappers, is to either name it after one of their songs or something that they say very often. And I think that is it. Yeah, thank you, and track responsibly. This is where to find me. You can find me at janae.angel. My blog, which I don't think I talked about. So I have a tech and productivity blog. called everydayjanae.com. If you're really interested in being more organized and just having a more organized life and seeing pictures of my kid doing really cute stuff, definitely check me out at everyday.janae or everydayjanae.com. My TikTok, where I post all of my kind of like cocktail tutorials to hip hop music and R&B, are on TikTok at Trap Tales. And then I just finished talking about my website for organization and productivity tips, everydayjanae.com. But thank you so much.
I gotta follow you on TikTok, Janae. I gotta follow you because I see when you post it on your Instagram page, and then that's when I get to see what you're doing. But I have to follow you on TikTok because I'm grateful for being introduced to Trap Tales. I have made a couple of them on my own, so
nice.
I appreciate you introducing us to that. The correlation with Black culture and cocktails, I thank you for bringing that to the forefront and spotlighting it in a different way. I think, a lot of people see it and they hear the names and they hear Pass the Cavassier or Gin and Juice and they're like, oh, okay, that's just their favorite. So no, there is definitely a correlation, and I think sometimes talking about it up front is great. So thank you for introducing all of us to Trap Tales. I think I want to recoin cocktails for Black culture. Trap Tales.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I just think this topic is just so important to me, not only because it's who I am. I rarely, and that's something that probably is a larger conversation about how, like, I, as a Black person, don't feel like I can be my true self at work sometimes because I feel like the clientele and also my coworkers can't handle me at my full Blackness. You know what I mean? It's like you can only see parts of me, and that's exhausting. It's exhausting to have to be like that. Yeah. But infusing, creating Trap Tales and doing the videos that I do, it's like I can do both at the same time and not be judged for it. I can educate, but also be myself at the same time. And it's rare as a Black bartender that I have spaces to where I could do that.
That's true.
So I made my own.
That's true. That's true. You are carving a lane, sister, and I appreciate you for that. It's a great space. And I know, from the beginning, it's a journey that you've been on, and you've done a great job at capturing the culture. So I thank you for that. And everybody who joined in, thank you. Thank you. It doesn't seem like we got any questions, but we got a lot of comments from Michael and Brittany and Yolandi and let me see here. I'm looking up because I need to scroll up to see who else was on here. Tara. Hey, Tara.
Hey, Tara.
Jada Samara. Tiffany. Hey, girl. Yes, influential. You sure right about that. So thank you to everyone. Lindsay, I think I saw Josh was on here. Yes, I see Josh. Yes. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. I wish we could play some music to go out. Man, these copyrights will kill us. But I feel like I need to play some, like a mixture of something to go out. But in the meantime, continue to follow Portland Cocktail Week. As Janae said, we continuously keep all of the videos on the Facebook page. So as you see the tag here, facebook.com/PDXCW. The same goes for YouTube. And as I mentioned in the beginning, follow Campari Community. Campari Community is definitely here. And we do so many, we love this partnership with Portland Cocktail Week. We get to do so many fun, different webinars and seminar. I hope we get to keep this going because this has been really cool. Yes. And Appleton Estate USA, thank you for allowing us to be part of your repertoire today, Janae. I got my Appleton 8 that I'm sipping on, and I recently got a bottle of 15. So I want to tell everybody, look out for that in the stores and in your bars. Appleton 15 will be releasing this month. Ooh. Black River Cask. We're really excited about it. Joy is just, she's just hitting us left and right, But it won't be a limited time offer. It will be a consistent addition to the portfolio. So now we've got Signature all the way to 21. So we're really excited about what's going on with the portfolio and happy to be associated with Portland Cocktail Week. So to all of you who joined us today, to Janae, the Portland Cocktail Week team, thank you for having us. Thank you for joining. And let's finish off this Memorial Day weekend. It's still Memorial Day weekend in my head.
I'm off for the rest of the day after this, so it's definitely still Memorial Day weekend for me.
Cheers, Juicy. Biggie would be proud. Thank you for naming all those cocktails after some great songs.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes. Bye, everybody.